My big takeaway, guys, game one. Denver is big, real big. Miami, small, real small. Aaron Gordon had 12 points in the first quarter playing bully ball, not Jokic, Aaron Gordon. And I think that this is the crux of the series. They can't guard Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic. When those three guys are on the court together, they just don't have the size to hold up. One of those guys is going to be able to get a mismatch inside.
I think a lot of the Gordon stuff was a result of kind of some of the missed shots. A lot of those were, even though, like I said earlier, Miami did a good job taking away kind of the initial look in transition. A lot of those were like missed shot cross match, Gordon rim run, and Denver is patient and is able to, Vincent or Martin or someone is battling hard against Gordon, but eventually like he gets positioned and puts him in the basket. So I think that a few more of those shots go in, and maybe that dries up a little bit. But at the same time, I think you're right that like Denver is big while still playing small, still playing very perimeter oriented offensively. They still have a size advantage. I think every spot on the floor.
I think that's why I was so confused with them starting Martin for the Heat. And I think like I get Martin needs to play heavy minutes, all that stuff. It's easier when he's starting versus coming off the bench and whatnot. I still would have, and I know the problems with Love, I still would have given Love 4 minutes to start the game. Just to start the game and go
he
from
didn't
there.
even play. Now
He
that
didn't
doesn't
play
make
at
any
all.
sense.
I mean,
unless he's hurt.
I think it makes sense in they're so afraid of Murray attacking him in the pick and roll, Murray and Jokic pick and roll, and him having to defend that. But I think you got to give that a look. I think you got to just the size of it, and they didn't get killed on rebounding or anything like that, or so on. But I just think the size across the board. So you need to have a little more in that sense, and I think that's one of those things that like when they started, I was like, huh. I'd have probably gone back to Love and then worked from there, because then you also weaken your bench when you pull Martin out of your bench rotation. And you're not playing Love, so now you've shrunk your rotation. And then the other thing too is just like, man, just don't play Cody Zeller. Like, what are we doing with this? Like just the Zeller minutes. Like, why? It's just not. It's not. It's not good. It's an instant negative. I'm sorry, but it's just like those things are frustrating with that. And I know we're bemoaning the size, but I would go to starting Love and having a little more size to start the game if I were them. And I'm surprised that that's how they started game one.
I agreed with we talked about this before the game, and I agreed with you then, and I still agree with you that that's the way I would lean. I will say that in fairness to Spo, I think they're thinking about it on the offensive end as well. And you have to say that we didn't hate their offensive process in the first quarter. They got good looks.
Right.
Like Strus got, in the first half, Strus had, I don't remember how many of them was first quarter. But
it was it was 0 for 6 from 3, 0 for 7 from the field. And
yeah,
we went through
and they were like 5 of them were wide open. Like they were getting good looks for a good shooter, and they just didn't knock them down. So from a standpoint of, did we get what we wanted out of this? Yeah, they kind of did. The shots just didn't go in. If the shots aren't going in, then of course what you're giving up size-wise defensively becomes more magnified. So I say all that by way of saying this isn't an easy call. It's a 55-45 decision that, whether they went the right way or the wrong way, it didn't break their way in game one.
And that's nitpicking. This is coaching. This is in the finals. Yep. This is what your decisions are going to be. They're hard decisions, every one of them. And that's just the way it is. And Dave, do you remember how nuts I went last year when they didn't start Kevon Looney?
Hey,
listen, I wanted to throw my laptop out of the window. Like it didn't make sense. And I feel like in this one here, I don't feel like it's that hard of a decision though, Seth, at the end of the day. Like, even though they got the like you said, better shots and things like that, I just felt like, just look at the fact that Gordon crushed all their smalls. And it still might have happened. And we know how the misses, you're right. I agree with you on that point and things like that. But they were you're starting so small to begin with. who's the smallest guy on the Nuggets starting five? Jamal Murray at 6'6". Like you're in a tough spot, man, when you're going to start small. I just think you're putting yourself in a very weak position to begin the game if you're starting that way. And I'm not saying Love should get 25 minutes, just 4.